The most valuable financial skill that anybody can have is not needing to impress other people.
What do you think the biggest wealth killers are? Car loans.
If you're working a 9 to 5, I hope you also have a business.
So today we're going to be talking about some of the good financial decisions you can make for your future. Even though these videos end up doing the worst on my channel, at least in comparison to the debt videos and similar topics along the lines of that, I still know some people enjoy these videos with general financial advice along with some of my analytics on this channel. A lot of search results from you guys are about improving financial situations and where to start. So we have some clips along with some of the things that I regularly do and comments from previous videos about some of your best practices. So if you want to be featured in a future video, leave it in the comments down below, but we're going to get right into it.
The most valuable financial skill that anybody can have is not needing to impress other people. If you don't need to impress other people, that is an asset on your balance sheet that is worth $1 billion, because so much of society as a whole and an individual is just geared towards how can I get other people's attention? How can I show off to other people? How can they like me more?
Now, I'm not sure why this isn't talked about more when it comes to financial situations, because I think a lot of stress could be avoided if you're not keeping up with the Joneses. And as we've seen on almost all of my videos that I've made on this channel, a lot of the issues with a credit card debt becomes buying more and more items. Same thing with the car payments, getting a brand new overpriced car when you really don't need it. The wedding video that I just made, the list goes on, where a ton of people's money is just being funneled into items to primarily impress people. Everybody wants the validation or the attention, especially online. It's easier now than ever to get that dopamine hit. You don't even have to go out in public anymore. You could just post it online and feel good about yourself if you got a brand new expensive Louis Vuitton bag. So I mean, having that discipline and knowing that you don't really need a specific item, or at least something that's a little bit more flashy, that if you're seen wearing it or using it or posting it online, you'll get more attention than just the normal run-of-the-mill item. But overall, this could save you huge amounts of money in your life. We have a comment from one of you guys. Best financial decision I made was to keep my standard of living the same as my income increased after paying off all debt. Growing net worth over time by saving aggressively is the next best decision I made. And I think another reason why these videos don't do as well is because a lot of the actual good financial advice is always a long game. It's never the 10x your money in a month or a year. You know, any of the crazy stuff we've seen over the past few years of people getting rich off of Bitcoin, NFTs, the stock market in general, same thing with real estate. Everybody just wants the instant gratification and be able to build wealth within weeks or months, but normally this takes years and decades to actually acquire.
I'm 31 years old, and my number one tip is to open up a high yield savings account so you can take advantage of compound interest. Put away money in it every single month or every single paycheck. Don't even look at it and let compound interest do its thing.
So as I've said in previous videos, this is a mistake that I did for years. I had all of my money in just a normal checkings account, and I must have wasted tons of it in potential earning for absolutely no reason. And I know, especially now with the recent rate cuts with the Fed and the projections of the future rate cuts over the next year or two, the high yield savings accounts do go down basically every time that there is a rate cut. But at least for what I'm using right now, I use Marcus by Goldman Sachs, and that is about 4.1% interest on everything that's on the account. But it does vary from company to company. It would be a little bit higher, some of them are a little bit lower, but even if it's just 1% return, it's still better than nothing that you're getting in a checkings account. So normally what I do now is I just have the amount that I would need for each monthly expense in the checkings account, and then absolutely everything else in a high yield savings account, if not in other investments. I'm pretty sure NerdWallet has an article that goes over a lot of the pretty current interest rates from all different kinds of banks. So I will leave that in the description below if you wanted to check that out. But it's just one of these small ways to be able to make a little bit more money. I mean, I guess technically it is passive income because you're just throwing the money into a savings account and not really thinking about it. Up next, we have a series of photos, 5 ways I improved my finances as a 25-year-old nurse. And what I've seen in a lot of comments and also in a lot of videos is that apparently there's a lot of nurses who just really aren't good with finances. I'm not really sure why. My only thought is that when you finally do become a nurse, it goes from making virtually nothing to a decent salary relatively quickly. And I guess maybe people wouldn't really be that good with finances because it just instantly starts rolling in. And then there's a lot of people in credit card debt because they start overspending. We've seen a lot of clips previously about this, but the first one is started tracking all of my expenses and making a budget that is realistic for me. Now, at least with the monitor in the photo, it does look pretty complicated. I do know that there are several budgeting apps that you could get on your phone that makes it look a lot easier. I know Mint, Rocket Money I've talked about before. Again, I guess I have to say I'm not sponsored. I probably should have gotten a sponsorship for this video, but there are many apps that you could connect all of your bank accounts, your credit cards, so you could really see exactly what you're spending every month. Same thing with the subscription. So the only downside is the initial upfront setup of signing into everything on the app, but then it's very easy to track exactly what's coming in and going out. It makes you become a lot more aware of how much money you're spending, and overall would make you more conscious in making financial decisions in the long run. Next one, opening up investment accounts, 401k, Roth IRA. Same thing with just a normal broker account. And of course, I'm not telling you to do anything crazy. No, none of the day trading that we saw in the bad TikTok finance advice. None of the crazy altcoins. If you do want to get into investing, it's almost the same thing as a high yield savings account. Put it into the safest ETFs you could find, SPY, VOO. Put it in there and forget about it, or have some sort of reoccurring, once every week, every paycheck, every month. Put a certain amount of money into it and just wait. Again, I know people hate hearing that. They want to hear that there's a magic secret trick that in a couple months you could 10x your money and then you could go and retire off to the Bahamas and never have to do anything again, but it's just not how it works. No matter how many financial TikTok gurus will try to convince you otherwise with a $1,000 course. Again, a high yield savings account, we already talked about it. She uses Ally, at the time was 4.25, probably a little bit less now. Another one that I use, especially if you have the discipline and not constant impulse to buy anything that you see in person, going around stores or online on Amazon, starting to use credit cards for all of my expenses instead of debit cards. Tons of cards have cash back. I use one that gives me 2% cash back on absolutely anything. You get even better, where certain cards will be better for grocery stores, for gas, for restaurants, and they could be up to like 5% I've seen. So if you really want to get diligent, you could get even better returns than I do, but you're going to be spending that money on certain expenses regardless. It's not like you're purposely going out to Target and buying things just because you want that 2% cash back. Maybe some people do, and then that's how they get into debt. But again, you have the discipline. It's just free money left on the table. Over the long run, it really does start to add up. And the last one is what I just said before, the automated savings, reoccurring transfers into high yield savings account. People also do that with their broker accounts as well. Again, as soon as you set it up automatic, you don't really have to think about it every week or every month. It'll just happen and you don't really have to pay attention anymore. It makes it a lot easier. Now, one of them that maybe I probably shouldn't put in this video as a comment from you guys. I'm not saying you should do this, all right? It's not financial advice from me, but as we've seen in a lot of these videos, if you watch, subscriptions have become the bane of a lot of people's existence. Everything on the planet is a streaming service. So, comment from one of you guys, streaming services have gotten to the point where piracy is something that financial advisors should be teaching to their clients how to do. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just telling you, on the World Wide Web, if you really wanted to watch a show or a movie that you're paying $10, $20 a month for the 5, 10, 15 different streaming services that you could get, you put a little bit of effort into it, I think you could find what you're looking for. That's all I'm going to say. Not telling you should do it. I'm just telling you that it's a lot easier than you probably think.
What do you think the biggest wealth killers are?
Car loans. It's because of a trend that I kept seeing. As I wrote the book, I was comparing all the debt levels of a consumer debt in America. We've heard the number, 1.7 trillion in student loans. There's a crisis out there. And then I looked up and I saw that car loans were meeting student loan debt. It was at 1.6 trillion when I wrote the book, and I was flabbergasted. How did we get here? How did we go from a car as a necessity from A to B? Back in my day, it was like 25 grand was a brand new car. And now it's normal for someone to call into the show and say, I bought a car, we have $50,000 loan at 9% interest on this car, and it just blows my mind.
And that's why I've made several car market videos showing how much of a joke it is, how much people are paying for a vehicle that most of the time they don't really need, and now it's on par with student loan debt, which the video that I made showing how crazy it was for all of these people to pay unbelievable amounts of money per semester just to go to school. People are doubling that up and buying a ridiculously expensive car. We have a comment from one of you guys. After watching this channel, I decided to sell my truck that cost me $650 every month. I still had years left on the loan, and $650 is very cheap compared to what we've seen with truck payments in previous videos. I ended up buying a car for half the price on a 3-year term. I'm also selling my motorcycle. I'm looking forward to having less headaches as well as more money. And this really does go hand in hand with the next clip.
When broke people say, I can afford this, you know what they're saying? I think I might be able to pay the payments. If you don't want to be broke people anymore, you get out of the land of payments. A $44,000 SUV when you make $85,000 a year is stupid. Whether you paid cash for it or not, it's still stupid. But when you financed it, it's double, triple stupid. But it felt good when you bought it, and Mama's going to be pissed at Dave Ramsey because her husband called the show and he said, you're stupid. And Mama loves that car, I'll just tell you. How many times has that story been repeated in the last 25 years? I'm a cuss word in some of your all's houses. That's fine. Everybody's got to have a gift. I've got it. I'm okay. But we have to begin with the end in mind. It's called being a grown-up.
Now, this particular clip I thought was very interesting because it's not like I could write off every single word and piece of advice that Dave Ramsey has said as he's 100% right. But the amount of people in the comments that were butthurt and calling him an old man, he doesn't understand, he doesn't get with the times, but he's not talking to the person who can afford a $44,000 or $50,000 brand new SUV. A lot of the normal everyday people can't really afford that, but they're buying it anyway. I would honestly say if you don't have children and you're not hauling a whole bunch of stuff back and forth, you don't really need both an SUV or a pickup truck. But clearly SUVs have become increasingly popular over the past decade or so, so now everybody wants one, and they've only gone up in price. So if you could afford it, clearly don't let me tell you what to do. Buy a $40, $50, $80, $100,000 SUV. But a lot of the people who are calling him out of touch are the same people who are drowning in these car payments. And I mean, let's say you do have some kids and you do need an SUV. All right, I get it. I understand it's not like everybody could drive around in a Honda Civic or a Corolla or a Camry. There's some people who have pretty big families. So we could just check out cars.com and see some of these prices. 2013 Toyota RAV4, only $14,000 with 76,000 miles. You have basically 150,000 miles left on this car. Here's a 2018 with only 50,000 miles, $18,000. We're seeing half the price of the normal $40,000 to $50,000 SUVs. But what a lot of people don't like, and the reason why they start going into tons of debt, is that little number right there, 2016, 2016, 2015, 2013. They don't want to see that number. People want to see the 2024 number or the 2025 and be able to say, ooh, I just got a brand new SUV. When overall, as we've seen, even with Toyota, all these ones, the 10-year-old plus, are actually more reliable than any of the new modern stuff that has come out from virtually any manufacturer. But it's not cool, it's not nice and fancy. So if you do have a couple of kids and you got to go to soccer practice, you can get a car that is very reliable for around $20,000 or less. Here's a really good deal here, 2012, 60,000 miles for $11,000. If we actually go look this up really quick, the base MSRP for 2012 Toyota RAV4 was $22,000. So in 12 years, this car only depreciated $11,000. And again, you have another 150,000 miles left on this car. You could have this for more than 10 years and be completely fine. But people don't want that. They want a brand new car. They want a brand new Jeep Wrangler or a Bronco, and that are way more than the $10,000, $20,000 you would get for a used reliable SUV. And both of them are just not even reliable at all. We have another comment from one of you guys. One thing that can also save you money is learning how to work on your own car. It doesn't have to be anything major, but just learning how to change your oil and spark plugs can save you hundreds of dollars. And I definitely agree with that because I don't know how to work on a car, and every time that I go and get my oil changed, it basically costs me $100. And again, I got a 9-year-old Civic. It's not like I'm going to the Mercedes dealership with a brand new car and it's costing me a whole bunch of money. This is a normal old economy car.
If you're working a 9 to 5, I hope you also have a business. The average American has at least 2 jobs. An average millionaire has multiple streams of income. So you have to learn how to turn your W-2 to your 1099. Now you're winning, creating multiple streams of income.
So I do agree with what this guy says. However, especially in the past couple years with hustle culture and all of that, especially on TikTok and YouTube, that has turned into you need to be working 2 full-time jobs and have 3 extra side hustles, including an Amazon drop shipping business and blah, 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 all of that. And clearly, if you are somehow doing that, you're just running yourself into the ground. The burnout's going to be unbelievable. But when you start thinking in the way of these little incremental improvements, like the high yield savings account, that also becomes extra streams of income. Now, you're not going to be making $1,000, $2,000 extra every month unless you have a ton of money in the bank account. But again, adding all of these things together and then letting it sit over time definitely does start to build and compound. And I think implementing a lot of these things with the credit cards and the high yield savings accounts and maybe recurring payments into stocks or CDs or Roth IRAs, 401ks, these things do end up becoming extra streams of income without, having to take another job working at Wendy's or being a bartender at night. We have a comment from one of you guys. I've been binging financial YouTubers for about a year now. Between vids like this and Caleb Hammer, I've paid off all of mine and my wife's debt and opened up a high yield savings account in 6 months. It hurt to spend all of that money so fast, but I'm happy that I did it. I don't have a car payment. I'm 6 months into repairing my credit and up over 110 points. I think watching certain creators is the real gateway drug as long as you could apply these lessons. And that's what I was hoping a lot of my financial videos on this channel would help. Seeing some of the absolutely insane car payments people are getting into, or the 6 figures plus worth of debt where it doesn't even look like these people care. So they'll just be in the loophole of possible bankruptcy and constantly having to pay huge sums of money every month for the rest of their lives, and just the completely unrealistic and sad lifestyle that brings.
The best decision I ever made was getting a membership at a nice gym. And do you understand how much financial knowledge you can gain by sitting in a sauna with finance bros in their late 20s for 15 minutes? Paying for school tuition and getting a finance degree when you can just pay for a nice gym membership and learn everything you need to by sitting in a sauna.
Okay, this video's a little iffy. I could take some portion of this and I could understand it, and I get that it's good advice. The other part's a little off, but we'll dissect this. I think it's not like it's necessary to belong to a good gym to be able to become wealthy, but what he's primarily saying is a lot of networking, which was a lot of the counter arguments to the student debt and a lot of the negative association to higher education around my age right now, especially in the video that I made, where people were trying to justify their $50,000 to $90,000 a semester they were paying to go to college because they were networking. At that point, if you're going to spend $250,000 to possibly get network connections, there's got to be a cheaper way. There's got to be a better way. So that's why I put this clip in. It's not like you got to go to the gym, especially talking to finance bros in the sauna. You're probably going to get some bad advice from them. But I do know networking in person is now pretty difficult to do for a lot of people. So that's why I think a lot of the financial sector online on YouTube channels have really exploded in the past few years, because you could get a lot of knowledge from people online without actually having to go to school. Because if we go to the comment section, I mean, it is pretty funny, but at the same time true. YouTube has already been invented and it's free. I mean, I'm 100% an example of that. I had no financial knowledge even when I was going into school. I mean, I had like business 101 classes, but I wasn't a finance major. Everything that I learned is from YouTube videos, basically. I'm not really on any other social media platform other than YouTube. The personal finance subreddit is free and more responsive, to be honest. Man said finance bros and money. That's why I was making a joke about that. You're going to get some Wolf of Wall Street wannabe type of advice from those people, but you get the gist of what he was trying to say. And overall, I think it was a pretty good point. We have another comment from you guys. One of my best financial decisions was going to community college for the first 2 years of my degree. Far lower tuition, and my professors actually knew me, saw my achievements, were able to recommend me for scholarships at a 4-year university I was transferring to. I have no student debt, and during school I was able to live in an apartment 75% covered by scholarships. And that was supposed to be my goal in college career. I was going to go to community college and then off to a normal one, but I did not have the grades for that. But I mean, that's what a lot of people really should do, especially with the high cost of tuition now, saving tons and tons of money. I think there was a clip in the student tuition video where somebody was saving, I think it was almost $70,000 for 2 years of tuition when he went to community college instead of a college in the Bay Area, I believe, or maybe it was Seattle. And when you graduate from a 4-year degree, it doesn't say right under it that, oh, you went to community college and then you went to this university. It just says you graduated from this university. Nobody would know the difference. Here we have a series of photos, 5 money traps you should avoid in your 20s. First one, stop being influenced by celebrities. The amount of random crap I've been influenced to buy is actually insane, and that's why I made the overconsumption video that a lot of people enjoyed. I went over a whole bunch of different types of overconsumption that are primarily being influenced by people from the phone. Just swiping on Instagram or on TikTok, constantly wanting to buy more and more stuff. You see an influencer using this new product or these brand new trendy clothes, and then they have a coupon code and buy one, get one free, and then you end up buying something you don't really need. And I think there's a whole trend of people defluencing a lot of the products that are pushed online right now. I think it is a pretty good idea. I'll probably start putting those in future videos as well. The second one is impulse spending, really bad, especially when people are bored. Just sitting on the phone, swiping on Amazon, you could buy something, but I try to wait 48 hours after seeing something I could potentially buy, and by then the serotonin effect has worn off and you don't really want it. I feel like that happens a lot. Buyer's remorse is probably at an all-time high. I bet somebody could do some sort of research and people will realize how much crap that they bought that they really don't even like. Here again, we're starting to see a pattern, leaving money in your bank account. I wish someone told me this sooner, but you're actually losing out on money by leaving it in a normal bank account. Same thing, high yield savings accounts, investing, bonds. Number 4, using buy now, pay later. That is definitely one that is a very easy way to start getting yourself into debt because the payments look a lot lower on the really expensive electronic that you wanted to buy. And then you're not really paying attention, and then months go by and you don't actually end up paying that back. And the interest starts rising very, very quickly. It's very dangerous and now has become so ingrained with online shopping. I'm pretty sure that even Apple Pay has some sort of integration now with the Klarna and Afterpay, which are all the buy now, pay later companies. So not only are you impulsed to buy anything that you could just click a couple buttons on your phone or on the computer and have it sent to you the next day, but in your mind, it doesn't even look like full price now because now you could pay it in 4 easy payments or 6 easy payments. So it looks even cheaper to buy, and then it'll just put you in a worse hole overall. And the last one, buying anything if you can't afford it 3 times over. Now this is variable for different people. I've seen the 3 times over, I've seen the 5 times over and 10 times over. I mean, it all depends on how you are. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically like if you can't buy a specific thing that you want 3 times and not really have any financial hurt from it, then it's okay to buy. Some people say that it's 5 times over or 10. Of course, they don't really account for massive purchases like houses. It's not like somebody could afford 10 different houses. If you could, then you're probably not watching a financial advice YouTube video. You kind of get what she's trying to say in the overall post.
I got a buddy, he owes $4 million on a house at 2.8% for 30 years. He wants to sell, by the way. I said, don't sell it, dude, rent it. Keep your mortgage at 2.8, finance it to the next guy. Just finance it to him at 6%. Saves him 2 points over Bank of America. You basically make 3.2% on $4 million. You're making money on the interest. You're making money on the basically what looks like a tenant. You're not paying taxes except on the portion that he pays you back. So if the guy misses a note, you just take it back, keep the down payment, and move on down the road. It's almost like a rental.
It's just that easy. You didn't know that? Oh man, it's super easy to make a ton of money. The comments are great. I mean, Grant Cardone has been on the channel for a couple times because he's basically just a meme. He has no clue what he's talking about. You still have to pay property tax on a $4 million house. There goes your 3.2%. Who rents a $4 million house? Rent it, finance it to the next guy, keep the down payment, makes 0 sense. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of renters out there looking to rent a $4 million house, and that's what I thought. If you had enough money to be able to rent that kind of property, most likely you just own it. Even if it wasn't your primary residency, those people who are actually looking at those properties have so much money that they're not looking to rent. They'll just own several properties. He says rent it, but then finishes by saying it's almost like a rental. So on the contrary of watching a lot of financial content, you'll see a lot of these people who are very smooth at speaking will get a whole bunch of clips that look like they're on podcasts or speaking in front of a crowd, and they sound very convincing in a topic that you most likely don't know a whole ton about. And they'll make you believe it's just that easy to flip a couple of properties or become a landlord landlord to a $4 million rental have absolutely no problems and be able to make a ton of extra money that way. It's most of the time a way for you to be convinced by them, think that they're, you know, the smartest person on the planet, and then you end up buying one of their courses, and then it's just very basic knowledge, and that's how they kind of make a whole bunch of money, just from massive amounts of course sales. So you do have to be careful with who you watch and listen to online, especially when it comes to money. There'll be a ton of the Tai Lopez type of grifters and just trying to make a little bit of money off of you without giving you really any good knowledge or not knowing what they're talking about, honestly. So that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.